As if they don't have too much on their plate. The Kings of Combat Sports Podcast, John and Wade. They'll talk about the things they did that day. They'll analyze the work of Vince and Triple H. Review a SmackDown. 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 Review a SmackDown.
Hello, friends. It's Review a SmackDown with John Pollock and Wai Ting. I'm here with Wai, who just took a drink of something.
Oh,
how are you?
Oh, you could hear that. These mics are very sensitive.
They're the best.
Yeah, I'm good, man. This was, what is this?
Review a SmackDown.
No, I meant my drink.
Oh, okay.
It's like a mango punch type of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm drinking water here, if you're curious.
Nope.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Not really.
Well, it's late on a Tuesday night, and we're talking, Wai. Why is this?
I guess we have the time, and Wednesday, I guess, is a busy day. So
yes,
yeah,
I have had. You messaged me about doing this tonight, and my initial reaction was, we'll just do it in the morning. My microphone was at work, and then I was thinking about it after. I was like, it's easier to just do it tonight. So I was going to go get my microphone before SmackDown when I realized that my wife had gone to watch a movie and had taken my car keys with my pass to get into work.
Oh.
So she got home around like 10:30 or so. I finished watching it, and now at 11:45 at night, I'm here in my office at work.
Oh, man.
Chatting with you.
Man, that sucks. I feel bad. We didn't have to do this now. We could have done it all.
You know what? Traffic was very quiet at this hour, so I got here pretty quickly, so it's okay.
Man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm excited to chat about this show, Wai.
Okay, let's do it.
We had the culmination of the romantic storyline that has taken the wrestling world by storm.
Oh, no, I don't know if it was the culmination. I think it's just a continuation.
We'll debate that later.
Yeah.
Well, this was SmackDown in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
An hour or so away from New Orleans, as Shane McMahon had his Google Maps out, ready for Talking Smack, which we will discuss later. Shane McMahon co-hosting Talking Smack. We will discuss if that was a positive or a negative. But Dean Ambrose started off SmackDown with the Ambrose Asylum. And totally forgot this guy won the Intercontinental title a week ago. But he reminded me as he walked out with his championship. And he immediately states that he is entering the Royal Rumble. So the mad dash for wrestlers to get promo time in order to declare their entry into the Royal Rumble. That is the key to getting into this match, Wai, is being trusted with microphone time.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, there's no qualifying to this. It's just stating, I'm in
There
this.
never is, though. I mean, I'm assuming that they're talking to the GMs and making deals with the GMs prior to making their announcements.
I guess
they have to send in an application.
I can't see Dean Ambrose's character formatting like a entry, like filling out an entry sheet and submitting it by a deadline to the management of SmackDown and getting maybe a witness and a signature. References to past Royal Rumble experiences.
Maybe Renee does it for him.
And she fills it out? Yes.
Yeah.
So the Ambrose Asylum is back, and he says he wanted an alligator for the show, but they did not have the permit for it. So Renee did not take care of that paperwork. And we had an alligator head as one of the display items that he has named Maurice. And the guest is The Miz, who comes out with Maurice, the non-alligator, and states that he has restored the Intercontinental title back to prominence, or at least he had until Ambrose won last week. And then The Miz announces he is entering the Royal Rumble and says that their match last week should have ended in a disqualification due to outside interference. But before he gets his lawyer involved, he wants Ambrose to do the right thing and hand the title over. And surprisingly, Ambrose did not do this. Instead, Ambrose pulls out the participation award that he was given weeks ago and hands it back to The Miz as the crowd is chanting, "You suck" at The Miz. And Miz then says how people don't find Dean funny. And then he jumps Ambrose And it leads to this slap spot where Maurice goes to slap Dean, who gets out of the way, and Maurice slaps The Miz, and then Ambrose hits him with a Dirty Deeds, and then hands Maurice the participation award, which she promptly smashes on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a nice little brief opening segment. I love the callback to the participation award. I think, man, what was that, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it got a great reaction. The Maurice slapping The Miz also got a great reaction, so I think all in all it was a very good opening segment.
Yeah, this was not a dusty finish title switch, despite The Miz's protests. We didn't have this was very much a Starrcade 85 finish here that they could have worked in to have the title given back to The Miz, but they did not. And this was the only involvement of Ambrose and Miz on the entire show.
Right, yes.
All they needed, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Also, no mixed tag for the Royal Rumble, as we were somewhat speculating they may have been going in that direction with.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess no real involvement with Renee. Yeah, it's true.
Renee was not involved in any of this. I wonder if that was just temporary, or do you feel that's something... Do you think we're eventually getting this Renee match involving these three?
It seems to me like Dean Ambrose himself, he's made no acknowledgement to him actually dating Renee. It's all come from Renee. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Dean Ambrose himself, the actor, was not that into, making his girlfriend a part of a storyline. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Then they had a video package for the Nikki and Natalya feud. And then Nikki is walking backstage, and Natalya jumps her from behind and tosses her into this garage door and tells Nikki she'll see her out there. Now, if you were paying attention to the ads on Raw Monday night, they were specifically plugging Cena and Corbin and the tag title match, and they never made mention of this match, which they had on SmackDown last week. So when I watched this, I thought, okay, they're definitely scrapping this match because they decided on Monday they're not doing this match, which they kind of did, but kind of didn't. They at least gave you something here because Natalya was out in the ring and Nikki valiantly came down the ramp and brawled with Natalya, and they went all over the ramp. The bell never rings. Natalya boots her in the face, and then Natalya tries to exit through the crowd, gets slammed down to the floor. The officials are then brought down to separate them. And my question, Wai, is why were they being separated? They were scheduled for a match. This is what happens during a match. They fight.
They were, I guess, fighting outside of the ring, and they weren't.
They started inside.
The match never started, though.
They never rang the bell to start it. But she charged her, and they started in the ring. Like it's a grudge match. How did they envision this would start if this were real?
Both people at the corners and receiving instruction from the official before an official ring of the bell.
Yeah, she didn't. They weren't checked for foreign objects, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was some protocol that they missed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get any Vaseline.
Yeah,
from their cornerman.
Yeah. I had no issue with that, John. I thought it was a very successful brawl, and I thought they got great heat from the crowd. Managed to add another week of life to this program and added a lot of heat to the feud, I thought.
This feud feels like it's been going on for... it doesn't feel like it's been long at all. Mm-hmm. And it started at Survivor Series.
Yeah, they've been really dragging it out. But yeah, I don't think it's felt like it's like it's boring. There's been enough intrigue bit by bit.
So they keep trying to get at each other, and it ends with Natalya clipping Nikki's knee and applying the sharpshooter, and Nikki left injured. Dasha is backstage with Dolph Ziggler, and they show his attack on Kalisto from last week, as well as the locker room, minus the Mark comment by Dolph Ziggler. And so it's Dasha coming back and asking Ziggler to explain his actions. And he just looks at her, looks off into the distance, and then he walks away. Yeah. He is speechless.
Mm-hmm. I think few on the roster have the acting ability to pull off an answer simply from facial expression and timing. And I thought Dolph was really good here. He showed you that he's somewhat conflicted and but doesn't fully explain what's going on in his brain.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to telling a story with your facial reactions, it would be Dolph Ziggler and later on tonight, Alicia Fox. Of course, Dolph Ziggler, also the star of Countdown for a reason with Kane. So he leaves, and then we got Kalisto against Dolph Ziggler in our issue that was started last week. There was a Hurricane Rana that sent Ziggler to the floor, and Morrow compared Ziggler's career to a commode seat. Wow. A toilet seat, because it goes up and down.
Oh, man.
Yes, and JBL thought this was an insult, and Morrow was just trying to go with the literal comparison to what a toilet seat, its function is. It goes up and down. And it's got to deal with a lot of shit, which would be another fine description of Dolph Ziggler's career. Kalisto catches him with this high kick off the apron, and then his neck is snapped on the top rope. Kalisto lands on the floor. They go through a break. There was a tilt-a-whirl head scissors by Kalisto, and then he catches a Ziggler super kick, goes for a schoolboy, and then Ziggler lands a kick and just does the lazy lay on him cover and gets caught with a crucifix, and Kalisto wins in 8:37. And Ziggler's pissed afterwards. He clotheslines him. He grabs a chair and starts attacking Kalisto with the chair. When Apollo runs down, they fight in the aisle, and then Cruz sends him back into the ring, and he catches Cruz with a kick as he enters and attacks him too with a chair. And here is Dolph Ziggler, who leaves these two guys laying in the ring. Poor Apollo here. Man, he couldn't have been made to look more like a goof here than the guy coming to make the save. And Ziggler, after this loss, he lays out both these guys. I mean, granted, with the chair.
Yeah, it was with the chair, and also the focus here was really more on Ziggler and less so on the other two. You know, I really enjoyed it. I thought, it shows you that. Okay, first of all, the match. I thought the match was really entertaining. I thought Dolph, he's working a more mat-based style as a heel, and so I'm excited to see. If he continues to kind of work in a different style in this heel run. I thought the match was entertaining. And then when Dolph loses, it shows you that, he's still kind of like, wrestling the matches, playing by the book. And then he still continues to lose. And then he really loses it. And that's when he grabs the foreign object. And he, with the foreign object is how he is able to escape this situation on top, which, is something that he hasn't felt in a long time. So I think Dolph is great in this. I think it's a story that takes advantage of his acting ability. I love the cutaways to the kids.
Those two kids that they cut away to, they showed them again on Talking Smack. Those kids were awesome.
They're great. I mean, you can feel like this might be traumatic for them. Their hero has turned to the dark side. And I don't think it made Cruz look bad because he had a weapon, and I think next week it'll be these two trying to get their revenge.
American Alpha's in the locker room with Dasha, and Jason Jordan says that Bray thinks he's the Alpha and the Kenny, and it doesn't matter if you are a god, a serpent, or whatever Luke Harper is. You can't take these titles from them.
Did you say the Alpha and the Kenny?
He said the Alpha and the Omega.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's funny.
This was a WWE promo for American Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting more comfortable, but obviously still very far away from the level of Bray or Randy. And, they just seem to lack a bit of confidence, and they haven't really found their voice yet. But I feel like the spotlight with the belts will probably help them really speed that progression up, like it's done for a lot of people on that roster. Chad Gable dropped the Ready, Willing, and Gable.
I was going to say, rest in peace, Ready, Willing, and Gable. It was gone here.
The suggestion of JBL from Talking Smack a couple weeks back.
Yeah, so they replaced it with we don't care if you're a god, a serpent, or whatever Luke Harper is.
And then he said something at the end, too.
Oh, I don't know. I tuned out after that point. Renee then interviewed John Cena, who had a much better promo. He said that Corbin has run through everything in his path since entering the WWE. He says that he is the one that needs to make a statement tonight, and he was called a has-been by AJ Styles last week, and he agrees. He says it has been a long time since he has had to fight to prove he belongs. He has been too polite, and Cena has been fired up tonight, and says his time is now.
Yeah, he even threw in some rhymes in there.
Yeah, this was throwback John Cena, I guess.
Yeah, he was great, I thought. Good promo.
The Wyatts then appear on screen and hopes that American Alpha has relished their time as tag champions because nothing lasts forever and the devil is at their doorstep. And Bray says, knock, knock. And I was waiting for Randy to say who's there, but instead he just said, they're here. So American Alpha took on Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. A very long match here between these two teams.
Who was the guy who did the knock knock joke? Braden Walker.
Oh yeah, I'm Braden Walker.
Knock knock.
I'm gonna knock your lights out. From one Bray to the other.
Yes.
So the tag match here. First, they got the heat on Gable forever. I think both of these guys are great at being the babyface in peril. Certainly Gable, the better of the two, but Jordan's very good too in the role. And these are the tag matches. They let the heels get the heat on them forever. They build to these hot tags that the crowd takes as hot tags. They don't just shrug their shoulders when the tag is made. And Jordan fires up really well in all of his matches. He came in here with clotheslines to Bray and to Orton as well. Then Gable was back in a little bit later. He hit this really good-looking delayed bridging German to Orton. And then Jordan and Bray go to the floor. Gable hit a top rope clothesline to Orton for a 2 count. And then Harper is distracting the referee, which allows an eye rake to Gable. And as Randy is going for the draping DDT, he knocks Harper off the apron, hits the DDT, and then Orton is calling for the RKO when Harper goes back onto the apron. Randy turns around, distracted with Harper, and Gable capitalizes with an O'Connor roll and pins Randy Orton, 15-32. Very good tag match, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so. Very good match. And like you said, I think great comebacks from Jordan and Gable. But I felt like Randy is still so over as a babyface that a lot of the hot tags didn't necessarily work as well as I'm sure the match was designed to. Because I think Randy is still by far the most over guy in the match. You could still hear children screaming for Randy in these matches. So I didn't necessarily feel the crowd want Jordan and Gable to win. So I didn't think everything worked out as well as maybe they had planned. But the breakup, I think they're teasing the tension really well between the few of them. But really by the end, this was a story served to tell for the Wyatts and not so much American Alpha.
Am I the only one that I don't want to see this breakup happen already? I think this is the most interesting Randy has been for a time, and this is definitely the most engaging the Wyatt family has been since 2013.
What do you think their plans are for Mania, though?
I mean, I always imagined they were going to get to Bray against Randy, but I mean, just because that's where I always thought the plan was when they paired them together. They would eventually do this breakup, but now that we're getting into Mania season and I guess they're doing this breakup, I just don't want to see Randy go back to the same old Randy after this.
Yeah, I hope not too, but I think that's your ultimate goal, is that match between Bray and Randy, and I feel like they're probably
not a match I'm dying to see.
Yeah, but I can tell this crowd really wants Randy to turn, though. This crowd is really hungry for that turn and that RKO for all of a sudden from Orton to Bray. Now,
to be honest, I think the more entertaining match is Orton and Harper.
Perhaps, yeah.
Give me 15 minutes of those two.
Possible, and that's somebody that I don't know how he really figures into this whole story, because it's more of a 3-way. Perhaps that's the match. I don't know.
So then Orton and Harper are arguing. They shove one another. Bray is getting in between them. Harper goes for a super kick, misses, and knocks down Bray. So Luke Harper and Maurice were booked to do pretty much the exact same thing.
Pretty much,
They missed their significant other. And or hit their significant other. So the crowd was into this a lot, I will say. The post-match, they were really into this, where they were all getting in each other's face. Bray got up, spoke to both of them. He said something. He like whispered to each and then left on his own. So, it felt like also Bray and Cedric were kind of booked in the same role here.
Like a breakup type of thing?
Yeah. A Bray cut. Baron Corbin video, very highly produced one, essentially saying his prey is John Cena. They recapped the WrestleMania announcement, which next year, or this year's, I should say, it's WrestleMania Exploding Sun, and next year it's WrestleMania Fleur de Lis.
Right, because
we don't have the number for as part of the logo, even though everyone will refer to it by the number.
They're going to run out of symbols soon.
Yeah, maybe that's why they chose New Orleans. It was I guess Philadelphia, you could have the Liberty Bell.
True. I guess New York would be.
I mean, most major cities have an iconic structure.
What about like Indianapolis?
Oh, good luck. Yeah, what would you have there? Like a
steering wheel? What about
why is steering wheel?
Indy 500?
Yeah, okay.
Tire?
Yeah.
Okay, what about Chicago?
Oh, Chicago, pizza. It would either be pizza, a deep dish pizza, a gust of wind.
Okay, what about Saskatchewan? Saskatoon? It would be like a thing of wheat. Like a a pail of wheat.
What if they had you could have a bull. Though I don't think anyone
Saskatchewan?
Oh, sorry, I'm still talking about Chicago. I'm moving to Saskatchewan. Yeah, WrestleMania never in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar.
Yep, he is a proud. Did you watch the Winnipeg Jets video?
Yes. I want to sit next to this guy watching a hockey game. I think it would be
I'm sure he'd be into it.
Yeah, his kids play hockey. He made a major faux pas when he went into the Jets locker room and he stepped on the logo in the middle of the dressing room, which you do not step on.
That's why they're never going to win the Stanley Cup now. So he actually lives in Saskatoon right now? His kids are like Canadians?
Yeah, I mean he's Canadian, as you know by his Reebok fight kit.
Yeah, that's incredible. Cool.
Becky Lynch was with Daniel Bryan, and they were watching footage from last week with La Luchadora, and the one being Alexa, and they're trying to figure out who the second one was, and Bryan guesses it was Eva Marie. But Becky says no, she's too vain to ever wear a mask. So Alexa walks in and says she was trying to work undercover to figure out who La Luchadora was last week, and Becky ruined it. And Becky says Meryl Streep has nothing on Alexa. And then Bryan makes a title match for next week.
I'm sorry. I don't remember a Golden Globes Best Female Actor winner ever receiving this much press.
This was the Lifetime Achievement Award. This was not. They had the Emma Stone references.
Achievement Award. Okay.
Yes.
I don't remember that ever receiving that much press either.
Well,
who won this thing last year? And why all of a sudden is this so important?
Well, they are injecting themselves into the pop culture world. Maybe we should look at who won the award last year.
No,
and see why.
No, you don't have to.
I want to find out who the best actress was. Who do you think it was?
Last year? Charlize
never mind.
Theron.
No, it was Brie Larson from Room.
Okay.
And the best actor was Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant.
Right.
Okay. Then we go. Okay, so Alexa's all pissed, and Bryan announces that they will have a title match next week, and it will be in a steel cage match so that no one can interfere. So an actual logical reason for having a steel cage match. Not to say that they will somehow involve La Luchadora somehow getting involved in this, but this was a sound strategy for booking a steel cage match.
Perfectly sound. And perfectly sound as well because Bryan mentions that Alexa did tap to Becky last week, and that's, you can't dispute that. So good logic building up to this match, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a worthy main event.
So why was Daniel Bryan on this show?
I don't know. I don't know why he wasn't on Talking Smack. I'm not sure.
Like, I can't imagine this was taped prior to tonight and just inserted that Bryan was not here. It seems like he was here for this segment only.
I would think so. I'm not sure.
This is very weird. I just assumed, because they announced earlier Shane was doing Talking Smack, so you just assumed Bryan wasn't here on Tuesday, but he was.
Maybe it was taped. I don't know.
I have no idea. All right, the next match, the one that everyone was talking about. Carmella and CJ Lund. Had to have been a joke off of Arn Anderson.
Really?
Marty Lund. So, describe CJ Lund.
Okay.
I do not know who this woman is. I'm sure someone will alert us who she is, but I couldn't find out who she was.
CJ Lund looks like maybe one of the girls out of Lipstick and Dynamite. Mae Young, when she was 20, 25. This is what this girl looks like. Same like hairstyle right out of the 60s, 50s. Her in-ring style, stance, and moveset all seem to be lifted from that era. I actually love the gimmick. The match itself.
She should have been part of the Vaudevillains. She could have been Simone Gotch.
Wow, that's great. I love that. I mean, I love the gimmick. I love the look. And the fact that she even has a stance that's reminiscent of like really old school looking female wrestling, I think is something that's really unique. The match itself, though,
was terrible.
Did not play that well.
No, JBL just had all the fuel built up for this. He was asking if she was the granddaughter of Mildred Burke, compared her to Susan Boyle, if she was Jack Gallagher's sister. Ellsworth goes to trip her, and he gets caught by the referee, and this leads to Carmella dropping her and getting a 2 count. Then they go to the floor, and CJ climbs into the ring, and Ellsworth pulls her back. I don't know why. And then she climbed back into the ring, and Carmella goes to plant her face first into the ring, into the mat.
The flatliner.
Oh my God. Well, that's what this match experienced during this sequence. And then into the Code of Silence, which was everyone's jaw dropping during this. Who had the worst setup to their finish? Was it Cass or Carmella this week?
Oh, good call. Well, I mean, I wouldn't blame Carmella for this one. I think it was CJ Lund taking the move wrong. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a good call. They both had kind of.
I thought this was worse. This was worse.
Sure. Let's go with this.
242, Carmella wins in a pretty bad match.
I like the gimmick, but man, match was bad. And man, Morrow was just quiet for most of this.
Yes. So this was I don't know if we'll see CJ Lund again. Carmella is celebrating with Ellsworth in the back and says she has a surprise for him, and he's all excited and states he's been waiting for 32 years for this. And Carmella says, next week we are going on a shopping spree. And he notes he has not bought a suit since he was supposed to graduate high school.
Interesting. James Ellsworth in a suit? You ready for that?
Great. Oh, man. Who will look worse, him or Drew Gulak?
I don't think Drew Gulak looks bad.
In the suit?
Yeah,
depends if it fits. Dasha then is with Baron Corbin. He does not care what Cena said earlier. He alters outcomes, and he will make Cena a liar tonight. It's no longer his glory days, but his end of days. And then AJ walks in, says tonight is Baron's night, but he'll be out there on commentary, and tells him to do his best AJ impression and beat up John Cena.
Yeah. It's the same criticism we have every week of Baron Corbin and the body of the show. On Talking Smack, he's great. But like on SmackDown, they give him, I mean, he's just reading scripts, and he's scripted to say such cheesy things like throw in the name of his finisher in his sentences.
You know what needs to be just this writing, especially for these Baron Corbin types and your Braun Strowmans, they have to get it out of their head about trying to be witty. Because these guys should not sound witty. They should not be stating that it's no longer his glory days, it's his end of days. That's not how Baron Corbin should be talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Jack Gallagher can talk. That's how fucking Noam Dar can talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Carmella can talk, but not Baron Corbin. These guys should not be clever. That should not be your takeaway that, oh, he really had a nice play on words there.
I agree.
He should be frightening.
No, I agree.
He should be intimidating.
I agree. I feel like, the days of the end of days of having catchphrases. I don't know. It just seems like such an 80s thing that I feel like we've all kind of grown out of. I think it could still work. It's just like it just has to feel natural. Like you think about guys like Roman Reigns even, I feel like a big part of the reason why I think he's so corny is because he,
believe that.
Yeah. What's Rollins? Yeah, like Rollins.
Rebuild, reclaim.
He tried it.
Recycle.
Yeah, he tried to use that for a couple of weeks, and then I think they quickly dropped it. Same with Ambrose. Ambrose doesn't really have catchphrases. I feel like a lot of your better promos don't need to rely on catchphrases. So I don't know. I hope Baron Corbin's end of days goes the way of Ready, Willing, and Gable.
JBL has to have a talk with all these guys.
Yeah.
Noam Dar did a promo, and he says Alicia can't resist these lips, and he drives her crazy and asks about another kiss after he beats Cedric tonight on 205 Live. And then our main event, Baron Corbin and John Cena. In WWE Mathway, this was the 1-year anniversary of Cena's first match back since his hiatus.
Wow, okay. Of his first match since his previous hiatus.
No, this hiatus. It would be the 1-year anniversary using WWE math to calculate an anniversary. Meaning, this is his first match back.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was confused.
Illogical statements tend to be very confusing. Yeah. Cena gets tossed to the floor as they go to a break. Corbin is walking over to AJ. He turns his back, and Cena attacks him. And then Baron hits a bunch of forearms to his head. Corbin then missed Cena, runs into the steel steps. Corbin hits this power slam and then a side slam, which is called a deep six. And AJ Styles corrects them. Stating,
Morrow. Yeah.
Was it Morrow who stated this or JBL?
Morrow did
okay.
It. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense because then Morrow asked for clarification later on one. Mm-hmm. So AJ here corrected him, stating it was the side slam. And then there's a bear hug, and this is when Cena comes back with a tornado DDT, and Morrow asks AJ if that was a tornado DDT, sarcastically. And Styles says, yes. Cena hit the 5-knuckle shuffle. Then he lifts him up for the AA. He hits the AA, and he pins Baron Corbin in 10:57. And then just stared at AJ to end the show. Very solid win for John Cena.
It was a solid win, yeah. I thought Corbin did well. He looked like he definitely belonged, up there. I understand the program is Cena and AJ. However, I feel like Corbin is also one of your pet projects, and I was a little surprised that he just lost clean like this because, it's one thing if Corbin had a real big back and forth, but I don't think this match really achieved those levels. I don't even think it was given that much time, nor was it necessarily stand out good enough for Corbin to come out of it, looking like he's looking like he's better despite the loss.
Yeah, I thought these two were really clunky together. I did not feel they really gelled all that well. Yeah, I was very surprised at just how clean Cena won this. And I mean, there's the argument, of course, he is the one in the big match at the Rumble, and he kind of, he hasn't had a match on TV since coming back. He should win something on TV going into this. I guess you could question if it should have been Baron or not. I don't know. I didn't hate the decision to do this.
Somebody has to lose eventually, but yeah.
But I was looking this up. I do not think Baron's lost on house shows. I don't think he's been pinned on TV since May.
I think so. Yeah.
This has been a very protected guy.
Yeah, true. So it's just surprising, and I think a lot of it will depend on how they handle him coming out of the loss next week. If he, has a big promo, I think it's, obviously it's all salvageable.
And that was SmackDown. I definitely didn't think this was at the level of last week's show. I enjoyed the tag match. Certainly some progression in various stories. But what was your opinion of SmackDown overall?
Not as good as last week, but still I thought a good show, and certainly better than Raw was this week.
I really like the Natalya Nikki stuff.
I liked it too.
I'm liking that feud a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some good fire I like the Dolph stuff a lot, actually. I'm really intrigued about what he does next week. And Ms. Ambrose kind of had a brief interaction this week, but they're keeping that going. Alpha now seems to be moving away from the Wyatts. They probably won't have a match at the Rumble.
No, I imagine that. I mean, it is a 4-hour show, but I'm thinking Nikki and Natalya are going to end up with a spot on there. Yeah, I could see the tag guys all being in the Rumble.
Yeah.
But a program with the Usos maybe is next for American Alpha.
Yeah, I mean they need to,
based on options.
They really need to get to work on both of those teams because I think Alpha are great. The Usos are great, but I don't think either team are necessarily that over.
Yeah, you do have that lingering issue with that attack they did on Gable months ago that you can at least run with that and bring that back up and remind people of. So there is some existing issue between the two. Then we go to Talking Smack. Did you see everything afterwards?
I watched 205. I tried my best with Talking Smack.
Oh, you didn't get through it.
No, I did not.
Why was that?
I was just dozing off. And I think I was just a little tired, but more importantly, I think Shane just sucks on this show.
He was weird on this show. He was very, what's the term? I don't want to say uptight, but very.
No, he just comes across like a dry manager. Not fun.
Yeah.
No.
He's not loose.
No.
Which that's what this show is with Brian and Renee.
Yeah, it's like a podcast, but you get the sense that he's, either playing a character like he's supposed to be a manager, or maybe that's his actual personality, where he feels like he needs to go through, think about his image, before saying anything. So it doesn't feel like an authentic person speaking. It's the same issue he had with the Mick Foley podcast.
Definitely he has that. Now, did you watch past the Alexa and Becky interview?
I was dozing in and out. So there are bits and pieces I saw, but I can't say I watched every single second. But I'll try to follow along.
Okay, so because I thought Shane did get better, specifically with the interviews. So they discussed a bunch of stuff, WrestleMania, returning to New Orleans, The Undertaker in the Rumble. Shane is asked if he'd be entering the Rumble, and he quickly shut that down when Renee asked. And then Alexa and Becky are brought on together at opposite sides of the desk, and it's the two going back and forth. Alexa says that Becky was the first champion, but she is the smartest champion. And Becky was the one who came up with the La Luchadora idea, and now it's backfired on her. And Alexa brings up when her shoulder was dislocated a number of weeks ago, says she got no medical attention, no get well tweets, no gifts. No gifts. I didn't know if she meant gifts, like GIFTS, or gifts online of the dislocated elbow. But nonetheless, neither of these were for her. All she got was a text from an unknown number that later followed up stating it was sent to the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
Shane tries to then tie it back into the dangers of a steel cage match, and Becky says she's proven she's the best women's wrestler. No one has overcome the odds that she has, and says that Alexa eye-gouged her at TLC and has never beat her honorably. Becky tells her to keep the title close for the next week. Shower with it. Go to the bathroom with it. Maybe you'll get rid of some of the crap you're talking. And then, in what I don't believe was a PG intended line, Becky said, "See you next Tuesday."
What? See you next? What do you mean? What do you mean PG line?
Do the acronym in your head.
See you. Wow. Oh man. Damn.
So that was some hot fire from Becky Lynch.
Damn, see you next Tuesday. Did she say it like that? Did she preface it like that? I must have been asleep for this.
Well, she just said, "See you next Tuesday," but that's...
that was not her intent. She wasn't like, spell it out.
No, she didn't state that.
Whoa.
I think she let the viewer at home put the 1 and 2 together.
See you next Tuesday. Sint.
Exactly. Mojo was on next. He comes in and he says it's heartbreaking what happened to Zack Ryder, and says he's now going to wrestle as a singles wrestler. States how they won the Battle Royal in his hometown of Washington, D.C. in front of his friends and family when Zack got hurt. He recently helped Zack move into his new place. And then we get the origin story of Mojo Rawley, when he got injured when he was playing for the Arizona Cardinals and tore his calf muscle and was told it was career-ending. He also mentioned he has an MBA and was considering going back to work on Wall Street when his football career ended. And then he's stating how he is best friends with Rob Gronkowski of the New England Patriots, and how Rob Gronkowski's dad was college roommates with Mike Rotunda as his connection to wrestling. And he ended up getting a tryout with the WWE, and that's how he got in here. And says that with Zack out for a long time, he needs to put on a new coat of paint. The fun and games might be over. It's about him now. And then Shane puts on his ridiculous Mojo hat, and Shane says the sticker's still on, and Mojo explains it's supposed to be, and Shane notes that he has a massive head.
Yeah, I saw this. I did see this.
This was a much more serious Mojo.
Well, it seems like it's a character change he's
Yes.
about to go through.
A welcome change.
Yeah, it sounds like he's staying babyface, but he's going to try to change some type of character. See, I felt like there was great potential in his current character as a heel, just this overly obnoxious, bro-ish heel. But yeah, maybe I just don't know how this guy. I mean, we'll see what he's got planned, but I feel like it's tough. It'll be tough for him to get over as a babyface.
The new Mojo.
The new Mojo.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Well, that's what he said he is. It's a new Mojo.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making a reference, like a radio station or something.
I was hoping you were going to complete that one for me. I was just kind of lobbing it in, but I knew it was a bit of a stretch. But you got it.
Was it? Did they ever call it the new Mojo?
It was called the new Mojo Radio for like any new branding effort. It lasted for years.
How dated is that reference? It's got to be at least 15 years.
It's more than that. They flipped to that in 2001.
What? Come on. We have an audience here who's probably younger than 14.
No, I doubt that. Hey, if they got the movie references on Raw Monday night, they should get the Mojo Radio reference.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Toronto. Then Shane just raved about that main event when Renee mentioned Cena and Corbin. His exact words, "What a match. That was a match." That was a match. That was literally true, Shane. Ziggler is the final guest wearing this New World Order shirt. Why didn't he just wear a shirt that read loser?
They don't sell that, I don't think.
Like some of these guys need to realize that they look goofy. They look like fans wearing shirts here. Whatever your joke is of wearing a New World Order shirt.
I think it was to signify something. It's to signify that he's
what? That he's reforming the NWO.
No, that he's about to form a New World Order of mentality.
Mentality. Yeah. What's the New World Order mentality?
I'm just saying, like he's
non-finishes, way too many members, and never allowing the baby faces to get a win.
Exactly. Yes. No. Maybe it's just him showing that. Oh, I've got a dark side now.
Maybe he's listening to Keep It 2000, and he realized they're up to the latest NWO reunion with the silver
and black. I don't think they sell that one.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, shirt aside, Ziggler had a couch session here with Shane and Renee. He states everyone here works hard, and tonight it just felt right, hitting two men over the back with a chair. He states there's a lot of frustration that's built up over the last few years for him. Shane says, well, based on your actions, you now have a target on your back because of these actions. Young Dolph, there are consequences to your actions.
Young Dolph? Is he that much younger than Shane?
How old's Dolph? Probably
36, maybe?
That old, you think?
Isn't he?
I'd guess 30. I would think he's older than me. Oh, you're right. He's 36. Shit.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Shane's fucking 50. So
what? He is?
Dude, no, he's not. He's 46. All right. So he's 10 years old.
He is a young man. He's a little child.
When he throws those punches, I think he's 70.
Yeah.
So Ziggler's explaining this chip on his shoulder and how good tonight felt. He says, "This is what I love. I think I'm really good at this wrestling stuff." And Shane then broke down the boos that he got tonight as being more out of disappointment from the fans than anger. And Ziggler said it felt like a sigh of relief and compared it to the night he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and won the world title. You and I were at that show, Wade. Did you have a similar reaction seeing those chair shots tonight?
I don't even remember. I was?
Remember the night after WrestleMania where he cashed in his briefcase?
Okay, vaguely, yeah.
This was a monstrous reaction. The biggest reaction of Ziggler's career.
Yeah, no, this was nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And he ends this by stating, this was the line, "I welcome someone trying to beat me when I'm at the full capacity of my brain right now, and I will not let myself lose."
Okay.
So his brain is at full capacity.
Yeah.
He's probably taking on it. And then announces that he is entering the Royal Rumble, and it ends with Shane saying, "I accept." He accepted his verbal submission form.
Man, I don't know if the Rumble is a great follow-up for, his current character.
Well, he's got to lose and stay frustrated. Frustrated characters, they can abuse and let them lose multiple times, and then they lose whatever kind of edge they had.
I feel like Dolph at this point should be going on a win streak. I feel like, I felt like it was going to turn into that after last week, but okay.
Well, maybe he's going to win.
Win the Royal Rumble, okay. Sure, yeah. And then go on to win the main event of WrestleMania against...
Why not? Let's look at this, okay? The WWE title match for SmackDown at WrestleMania, it could be like the 5th or 6th match deep on that card.
Yeah, it could be.
Like, realistically, the winner of the Rumble could be in a mid-card WWE title match, depending on who is the champion by then.
You're talking like in the fans' eyes, not necessarily which one they'll put on in that slot.
No, I'm saying where it could go.
Oh,
like,
okay.
let's say AJ keeps the title, or AJ loses the title to someone that is not John Cena. Like, that's a mid-card WrestleMania program.
Compared to, like, whatever.
Whatever Cena's program is, whatever Taker's program is.
If it's Taker Strowman, I don't see that being very high on the card. That, to me, is a mid-card match. Goldberg-Lesnar will probably maybe even finish it. And the Raw program... Yeah, if it's Cena with the belt, it'll go on last, or it can go on last.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah.
205 Live. You did watch this, or did you sleep through this too?
No, this was before. This was before I got that tired.
That's right. So it started off with Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar, which was really the main event of this show. They put a lot of stock into this storyline. Dar comes out with a microphone and says that the kiss on Raw wasn't enough to scare him away. He is going to emasculate Alicia's boyfriend. And then Aries says, this is all very confusing.
And like they cut back and oh wait, no, that was after. But it's exactly, it's pretty much the nicest way he could put it for the rest of the audience, who I think we're all really confused. I feel like this whole thing was just like, okay, I'm waiting for it to kind of kick off. And then like on Raw, Alicia kisses Noam Dar. I didn't know what to make of that.
That was so stupid.
Yeah, I did. I seriously just like, I don't know if they're trying to build to some type of, I don't know.
How much, I'm not going to defend this finish, but it would have been, I think, never mind. I'm not even going to try and make a case for this finish. Let's just talk about this. My point is the Raw angle was so stupid. And then Cedric was put in the awful position of coming out here hand in hand with his girlfriend, smiling away after we just saw the highlights of his girlfriend making out with this enemy of his the night before. Like, Cedric looked like such an idiot here.
Yeah, I feel like Cedric should have at least like brought it up. I mean, I don't know. They don't.
Who would cheer this man? Like, you're the audience member. Like, what an idiot this guy is.
Right. Yeah.
Your girlfriend's off, like, making out with this guy that you're going to battle with. It wasn't like this was one of those weird angles that no one can see except the performers in the scene. It was bright. It was there for everybody to see, clear as day. Cedric was, and then we're led to believe Cedric put her up to this.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. I think the idea is that it's not Alicia necessarily making out with Noam Dar as a way to, for pleasure, but it was more to show to test him. I don't fucking know. I don't know if people who act like this in real life. It is very
complicated. If the idea is, it's either Cedric is an idiot because he's willfully watching his girlfriend do this, or he put her up to this, and then you eliminate any of the sympathy of Alicia turning on this guy because no one gives a fuck. Like you're prostituting your girlfriend out, and then you feel bad that she dumps you for him. There's nothing there. This was such a stupid. This is my worst angle of 2017. That fucking kiss on the January 9th edition of Raw. I'm writing it down here on my notes, and I'm going to save it as worst of picks 2017 because they're sneaking this in at January thinking I'll forget it. I will not forget this kiss come next year.
All right. Yeah.
Alexander at least wouldn't shake this guy's hand. I thought he'd maybe just give him a hug. Let's just go all in. Alexander then lands a big forearm strike. The kicker here was these guys had a really good match.
Yeah. They all have good matches, I feel. But, oh, man, I feel like it doesn't matter now. I feel like it really doesn't matter. Like when
I thought Cedric's offense looked really good. Like his strikes, he landed this uppercut on the floor that looked really good. And then Dar took over and started working over the right arm of Cedric. And Aries notes that Dar is ignoring Alicia on the floor while he's in control. And then Alexander landed this spinning back elbow, goes for a springboard, and is caught with a Fujiwara armbar. And Alexander makes it to the rope. Dar smashes the arm into the steps, and then Alicia's standing in between Cedric and Noam to stop Dar from attacking the arm further. And then Alexander comes back into the ring. With Alicia in Dar's face, he drop kicks Dar on the floor. Springboard clothesline, can't get the lumbar check. And then Dar is laid out on the mat. Alexander climbs to the top, and he goes for a moonsault, which was... This was so obvious. Dar was like straightening out his leg, and like he was trying to, like, if his foot could talk, it would have been yelling, "Alicia, get ready." And then Alicia touched the leg, and Noam Dar does like this stomach crunch up and just does the Undertaker sit-up so that Alexander misses with his moonsault, and Alicia has come to the saving grace of Noam Dar. And Dar comes back with a running enziguri and pins Cedric, but the acting of Alicia here was her instincts took over, and she had no control. She had an out-of-body experience where she saved Noam Dar against her better judgment. She lost control of her body.
Yeah.
And then she had to convey the thought of, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
She was possessed.
If there was some type of explanation prior that, you know, this woman is this type of person who just like, who's totally unpredictable, you don't know what she's going to do. That was a character, I guess, that was always established with her. But in this whole 205 Cedric thing, she's been portrayed as sort of like, you know, just a damsel in distress, very typical pretty girl. And I guess like now they're trying to incorporate a lot of her being crazy back into it, but I feel like it's very incongruent with the rest of the storytelling that they've done. So it just ends up being really confusing.
So given that Alicia Fox had no control over her body, it was like this demon spirit had took over, and then she got dumped by Cedric. Do you know what you could call this finish?
What?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
The X-Assist.
The X-Assist.
EX.
Yes. The Exorcist. Cool. Nice.
I'm trying to get enjoyment out of this storyline, really which is not giving me much.
Oh, it's really, really nice.
After the match, Dar went to hug Alicia, and she slapped him. And then Cedric walked off. He was upset. We had an Akira Tozawa feature with comments from Kalisto. And then Brian Kendrick came out. He thought that he and Tajiri were friends. He offered his hand and then got sprayed with mist in the face and calls him a sneaky snake and a snaky sneak.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure he'd screw that one up. I would screw that up if I didn't rehearse. A sneaky snake and a snaky sneak.
It's a tough one, yeah.
The next time Tajiri will be choking on that mist, he says. And then he addresses Sean Maluda on the floor, stating that if Tajiri could beat Sean Maluda, then he'll be lucky to last 30 seconds with him. And I thought we were going to get a Colt Cabana Kikutaro match here where it would end instantly and then Kendrick would demand a rematch because he's driven all the way here.
I wish Kikutaro was in this.
Oh, that would be great. There were a series of pinfall attempts by Maluda as the announcers were very impressed here. And then Kendrick hit a somersault senton off the apron, throws Maluda into the corner. He no-sells this and hits Kendrick with an inverted DDT. There's a somersault splash as Kendrick was way out by the time he did this splash. And then the three amigos into a gourd buster by Maluda, a shining wizard, and then a frog splash onto Kendrick's knees, and he applies the captain's hook and submits Maluda in 446. So the story here was that Kendrick overlooked this guy who ended up testing him.
Sure. Okay. I'm sorry. I just like I feel like I'm kind of giving up on these guys. I just
the crowd did.
It's just like
they were silent for
I
this
don't
match.
care if they have great matches. I just don't give a shit, you know? Like cuz I don't think the storylines are any good and the environment sucks. It's like you go into a restaurant where you know they have the best ingredients, but the chef is shit. And the ambiance of the restaurant is terrible.
They're playing dubstep.
Yeah, and it's just not enjoyable.
After that, Alexander is arguing with Alicia Fox, and Alexander says that wasn't an accident, and then asks Alicia, is it Dar's accent? Do you think he's cute? And then Alexander dumps her and says she can take that pervert Dar and slap him around all she wants. And he leaves. And then Alicia throws a crazy tantrum, yelling, Cedric! And no one breaks up with her. This was more shriekish than Stephanie on Monday. But at least Cedric was given something here. You were given a reason to stand by this guy. Dumped her. That was just like the only option for him. I thought he was just going to apologize to her.
You're not given that much. Like, it's one thing I feel if, like, the thing is, like, you at the end of all this thing, I don't even have much of a sense of the character of Cedric Alexander.
Oh, I don't know anything.
He's basically Test from Steph and Triple H. That whole thing. He's just like a third guy, you know, that nobody cares about at the end.
That bodes really well for Noam Dar.
Well, no, I don't think it doesn't bode that well for Alicia either. Okay, I don't mean that an exact comparison, but who gained? I think Noam Dar gained something out of this.
Yes,
you know, he's able to showcase his personality, and the guy is entertaining. But Cedric, this did nothing for him. This hurt him, I'd say.
Yeah, all we've learned about his character is he has really awful judgment in women.
Sure, that's the idea.
Like this relationship lasted a month. Look at all the drama that he inherited with this woman.
And there's like no thought put into the two of them getting together. It's just all of a sudden, oh, we think they're dating. Yes, they're dating. I mean, I think he would have at least had a bit more room to showcase himself if, you know, they showed him like courting her or some shit. I don't know, whatever. But like, it just seems so.
They were just put together cold, yeah. And it was all done for this. Okay, she's crazy, like routine at the end. It's like, okay, great.
I don't know who's writing 205 Live. I don't know who's booking the show, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Someone who's had an awful relationship history. That's
Perhaps.
who's doing this.
I'd like to think that I would hope to think that maybe it's some intern on their writing staff. That's just like everybody else is busy with SmackDown. People are busy with Raw. Why don't we get the interns to write 205 Live? Because I can't expect. It just sucks. This show is just like really, really poor, really poorly written.
You're the guy that hates women. All right. Jack Gallagher comes out for the parlay with Ariya Daivari. Gallagher says, "We've been playing silly boogers for too long. It's time for a resolution." Daivari says gentlemen like him get stomped by people like him and says Gallagher is surrendering. Gallagher says it's a resolution, but never said it would be a peaceful one. He calls Ariya a scoundrel. Daivari says he has to uphold his family's name, and this leads to a contract being presented that Gallagher has signed for an I forfeit match, and says that when you forfeit in this match, it not only ends the match, it ends the feud. You live with the consequences. And Daivari agrees. He tosses William the Umbrella away, and then Gallagher undoes his tie and says, "I hope the Queen isn't watching," and tosses the table away, and they brawl and get separated.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was essentially a contract signing for an I Quit match. They tried to get a big reaction with, I think, Gallagher finally deciding to drop the gentleman act and going, fisticuffs with Daivari. It just doesn't seem like the crowd cares, though.
Do you think the Queen has the WWE Network?
Yeah, I doubt that she'd know how to access it, though.
Maybe she got it for the UK tournament.
Perhaps, yes. Yeah.
Main event was Rich Swann against Tony Nese, non-title. He drop-kicked Nese to the floor. Nese draped Swann on the top turnbuckle, kicked him in the ribs, and then worked over the ribs throughout the match. Nese missed with a springboard moonsault from the second rope, and then Swann caught him with his Hurricane Rana from the mat off the turnbuckle. Nese later swept him, hit a double foot stomp. A lot of his offense, all geared around the ribs here, that was good. Swann then kicked him in the gut, Tiger Bomb for a 2 count, then delivered some kicks, spinning wheel kick, and won in 7:25, defeating Tony Nese. And then after the match, Swann says that there is a guy resembling a gargoyle that thinks he is the king of the cruiserweights, yet he's the champion, and 205 is still his show, which prompts Neville to come out, and he begs to differ that it's Swann's show. Swann couldn't hear because he doesn't have ears like Dumbo.
And he got booed for that comment.
Yeah, because it was lazy.
Yeah.
And challenges him to a fight. Neville calls him a typical ignorant American. He will not step into the ring with him until he gets the title shot he is owed. Swann says name the time and the place, and Neville makes the challenge for the Royal Rumble, and that is our Cruiserweight title match on January 29th to end 205 Live.
Crowd is just not there for it, man. But I mean, I'll say, like, again, Neville to me is still the brightest spot of these shows. I think he's very intriguing as a heel, and I think he's fantastic.
I would say by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
I think him and Gallagher are the clear standouts, and to a lesser degree, Noam Dar.
Yeah. It just seems like and I'm including Rich Swann here. It just feels like you have a whole roster of very kind of undeveloped, unpolished guys, at least for the WWE. You know what I mean? And guys just like without fleshed out characters and with poorly told backstories. Like to this day, I feel like I kind of know Rich Swann, but I still don't know him. You know? I would certainly disagree with him when he says that this is his show. When I think of 205 Live, I don't think about Rich Swann. I'm sorry. I don't know who I think about. A lot of these guys just are lacking a lot of identity.
Sean Maluda.
Yeah. Who wasn't on the... Oh, he was on the show. Who am I thinking of? Mustafa Ali, he wasn't on the show.
Mustafa Ali was not there this week. Yeah. And then after SmackDown ended, after 205 Live ended, they had a dark match with Dean Ambrose and The Miz. All right, feedback time. Mark from Vaughn writes, Really enjoyed talking smack. I find Mojo to be a grating character, but tonight was the first time I've seen him more down to earth, and it was cool to hear his story. Also a relief to get a new twist on Dolph's narrative. Who do you think should be next in line for a shot at the women's title after the cage match? I'm assuming management would like Nikki Bella in a title match at WrestleMania.
Against, it would either be Becky or Alexa, wouldn't it? I could see Nikki. I think Carmella may be a little too soon. I don't think she's ready. Who else have they got? Natty? I don't really see it. Yeah, I guess it would be Nikki. She's popular.
Yeah, I think they should keep it on Alexa for now.
I think so too. We got a Lei Wulong from the West Palm Beach. Hey guys, hope you're doing alright. Tonight's SmackDown was an alright show. I can't really get into Baron after I saw him at a local NXT house show versus Tyler Breeze, where he tried to jump into the ring over the ropes from the apron and then completely face planted. It was so bad he could have gotten a concussion, but I laughed my ass off. It was awesome. I love Aries and Graves' commentary. I could hear Aries talk about how he would poke his thumb in his opponent's eye every week. A lot of people were leaving during the Gallagher promo. I hope they take Wai Ting's suggestion and do a 205 Live before SmackDown. I like that the announcers mentioned that what I was thinking for a while, which is that Tony Nese looks like a Neville clone, but I hope they wrestle at some point. Great back and forth with Alexa and Becky. One of the best promos by the women's division in the past year. Question, how do you think the Cruiserweight division has progressed since its debut on the main roster? Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that with the additions in the new year, when you have Austin Aries, I think Grand Metalik adds something. But, I mean, to me, you've got a lot of capable talent there. It's always, it comes down to these ideas they have of forcing these storylines on some of them that are just... some are just so completely missing the mark that it's laughable.
It's the placement on the shows as well. Certainly, I think putting these guys at the end of a SmackDown really does not help. But then again, they did a taping before a SmackDown, and I don't know how much they got over then either. So maybe it's just a case of like a bunch of brand new faces that people just don't know and can't identify with. All being introduced at once. Essentially, you're being presented with another promotion is what you're essentially watching, and people aren't paying tickets to see, these guys. They're paying tickets to see Cena and AJ. So there's some big problems. I wonder if they should even drop like the purple rope thing. It's just like it is just a visual cue for people to tune out, I feel.
Paul writes, I noticed American Alpha doesn't really get really big pops. Most of their character work, which got them over, was done in NXT. My question is there anything wrong with rehashing stuff from NXT, like the Ready, Willing, and Gable jokes? It seems like that's what got them over. Those jokes were not what got them over. What got them over was that they turned out to have tremendous chemistry together. They had really strong matches, and they also got over because of a lot of just their regular promos, like some of their reaction when they won the tag titles. It was just a genuine emotion from these two that they were like in tears when they won these tag titles. Mm-hmm. And they got over because they just had great chemistry together as a team, and they were given the leeway to do so. Yeah,
I feel like if you're able to have a great match, I like when we're talking about NXT and Full Sail, that's very much like an independent crowd who I think puts, a lot more value into just having great matches. But I feel like on the main roster, especially when you're talking about TV where guys aren't given the time to necessarily always have great matches, I think your personalities are a little bit more important. And I feel like they need to develop that aspect of their game a little bit more. We got Alex from Portland who says, I'm enjoying Dolph's turn, but I wish he had better opponents. While Kalisto and Apollo Crews were credible performers, they aren't compelling characters. I wish I was given a reason to care about either of them before Dolph assaulted them with that chair. Which outfit was worse, Foley's ugly Christmas sweater, or whatever that monstrosity Renee wore tonight? I'm not enjoying American Alpha as tag champs. Everything about it is a backdrop for the dissension of the Wyatt family. I want their feud to end ASAP so American Alpha can get to having proper stories themselves. That Carmella match is the worst match this year so far.
All right. Larry from East LA. Those little kids' faces reacting to Ziggler's chair shots were priceless. That right there was already better than anything on a 3-hour Raw. I think if fans really want some sort of change, just stop watching it. It's simple because to them, We're idiots, like Paul Heyman and JBL said on Bring It to the Table. Question for Wai. Curious to know, do you remember exactly when you first stopped watching the WWE? I remember you saying that on one of your reviews.
There were like two kind of dark ages in my wrestling fandom. And I think the first one came after Brett had lost at WrestleMania 12. And basically Shawn became the guy on the show. And Brett just like took a hiatus. And I guess I left along with him.
Wow.
So, because I guess I was that big of a fan of his. And, for me, like, my favorite character is not on the show anymore. I don't really need to watch the show anymore.
You were that child with the reaction shot if you had gone to the Iron Man match.
Yes, that's it. Yes. And so I can understand when people, when they say John Cena can never turn, because if you turn John Cena, you very well could lose a big chunk of your audience unless you had somebody to replace him, which I don't think you do yet. So that was kind of my first dark period, and of course I came back after the finger poke of doom for whatever reason. Now my second dark ages were probably maybe somewhere like in 2003, maybe late 2003. Like I had really enjoyed wrestling all the way up until like, the SmackDown 6. I loved SmackDown for that period. But then like somewhere it just kind of petered out, and I can't necessarily remember when, but I feel like it probably had something to do with like the introduction of the Ultimate Fighter. It probably took me away, and I didn't really jump back until I started working at the Fight Network.
Yeah, I can imagine in 2005 you were saying, you know what, this wrestling stuff, it's time to move on.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm done.
I'll never get back. I don't think I'm coming back ever after this.
Jeez. How about you? Did you ever have any like periods where you just stopped?
No, not really. I mean, I started watching when I was like around 8 years old, and I mean, it was just weekly. I would watch the WWF like Superstars show. I mean, there was probably a period where I want to say I was like maybe 11 or so, where I kind of for the summer didn't really focus on wrestling too much. But I mean, I've never taken any kind of extended break from watching it.
Cool.
Which is quite the statement there as I reflect.
It is not. It is not. I think it means that you have, like, it means you should be doing what you're doing.
Sure. I guess.
Yeah.
You're
Was it my turn?
Next.
All right,
Yes.
We got an NJ from NJ who says, "Let's play a game."
I'm too tired to play a game.
With regards, okay. No, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this game.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
We'll read one more and then we'll
So
get
we
out
got
of
a
here.
Sean from Calgary who says, "As much as I enjoy SmackDown more than Raw, I can't see anyone from the Blue brand winning the Rumble. Dean feels a bit cold still. Miz would result in a boring main event. Corbin is too early. Bray and Randy don't seem like they'll win. And Cena isn't an entrant yet. Even if a SmackDown member doesn't win, who do you see making the biggest impact?"
The biggest impact in the Rumble?
Yeah. Randy, I think, could have if Randy is in, I think he'll, who will, like, be most memorable? Like, who will do the best?
Corbin should have a big showing in it.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you can't. The thing is, it's like you're limited with who you can do that with. I mean, you could do two kind of big kind of clear out spots with Braun and later with Corbin. You could do that. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Randy will be pretty focused upon in the Rumble on the SmackDown side. Ambrose really has nothing going beyond this Miz feud, so I don't know if you really want to continue this unless they have an idea to prolong that mixed tag with Renee, and they're going to spin them off for like the February pay-per-view, for instance, or something like that. Just keep that feud going, because I don't know how much more you can go with just the Ambrose Miz singles matches when you've done the title switch. I don't know. It's not a feud I'm dying to see continue with just the two of them. I mean, it's something novel if you involve the women as part of it. I think there's a curiosity to see that.
Yeah.
But that's a one-off.
Yeah. When you kind of take AJ and Cena out of it, the SmackDown looks kind of really weak compared to some of the Raw entrants. I mean, if you don't count the Undertaker. So, yeah.
That is going to bring an end to Review-A SmackDown. We are going to be back later this week. We've got all of our regular shows. What's Next is coming out. We have the MMA Report. And Friday, we will be joined by Colt Cabana on Review-A-Wai, as Wai and I will be reviewing Wrestling Road Diaries 3, which will be up on the site this Friday, which you can check out at liveaudiowrestling.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes. We've got The Law Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and our Royal Rumble pool is now open at royalrumble.info. You can submit your picks now. The deadline is the day of the Royal Rumble at noon Eastern Time, where the top 3 finishers will all get prizes from The Law.
Awesome. Cool.
It's exciting. Okay, that's all. Good night.
See you next Tuesday.